Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me for this week's episode of When I Grow Up. On today's episode, it is my pleasure to welcome my guest, Jiamin Wu. Hi Jiamin, how are you?
Hi Blair. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So Jiamin actually has a nickname that's honestly a little bit easier for me to pronounce because I feel like I'm butchering your given name. But she goes by Kino, so I'm going to call her Kino for the rest of the interview. Is that okay?
Yeah, great.
Awesome. Well, Kino, thank you again for being with me. So I don't know you personally. We got connected through a mutual friend, or now my new friend, AJ Dungo, who came on a couple weeks ago. Kino, without, actually, how have you been? How was your day? I should ask you that first.
Oh, it's great. I just finished my work like 30 minutes ago, so yeah. Well, I didn't wasn't in the mood in working, but it's great.
Okay. Well, so you work from home?
Yeah. I'm working from home since last year, March.
I
So
see. So since the pandemic started.
yeah.
Gotcha. Well, thank you again. I know that your schedule is probably super busy, so I'm really grateful for your time. Kino lives in Los Angeles, and so she is 3 hours ahead of, or no, yes.
Yes,
What?
3.
Yeah.
I think 3 hours.
Ahead of us. So, yeah, she just finished work. But I have to ask, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
What do you do? What is your work?
So my job title is Previs Artist, pre-production. So the short answer to explain that job would be a 3D storyboard for films. And then to expand that a little bit, it's basically we create all the environment and then the captures in a 3D software, and then we basically start to film the movies in the 3D software, and then like a really rough version, like where all the cameras going to be, and then how would they look like connected together. And then it's basically a step further than just storyboard. The storyboard is images, and then what we do is like animation. It's like moving sequences, and then the director would have like a better idea like what he actually wants, because it's easier for us to reanimate than him reshooting the entire sequence. And then it's easier for the producer to budget like, oh, these are going to be VFX shots, and then these are going to be all practical. And then yeah, that's basically the answer.
That's crazy. So, I mean, right before we started recording, I asked you this question and I was kind of shocked because I didn't even think about this kind of job, right? Like, of course, right? Like these movies that have humongous visual effects and all this kind of, I'm like, how do they even plan this out?
Yeah.
And I mean, these days, I'm sure back in the day it was just storyboarding, right? Do you know how long it's been like? People have been doing 3D storyboarding?
I think so. The current company that I'm working with is called the Third Floor. So they're founded by a bunch of guys that were working for Star Wars, and then they like bonded through like working on those movies, and then I think well, I don't think they started this whole industry. There are like many companies out there, but they were like the pioneers, like
I
with
see.
other companies. Like I think it would be late 90s and the early 2000, because
Wow.
that's when 3D like pure CGI movie is starting to grow, I think.
That's amazing. So, okay. So, um, what does a typical day for you look like then?
My typical day, it depends on the production, but sometimes like there will be downside on the production side, so we artists don't really know what we do, so we'll just have a chill day. And then when the production knows, oh, this is what we want, and then we just have meetings, like really long meetings all day. And then there'll be like a crunch hour, and then we basically just sitting, well, I'm still working from home right now, so it's just me and my computer, and then working in the 3D software like all day. So that's basically my day. And then we'll
Okay.
have like an hour off. Yeah.
So like say production starts for a movie and you
Yeah.
go in and meet with your client or whoever's making the movie and they tell you what they want. Like, are you like taking a script or they're telling you exactly what it is they want to see, or how does that work?
It also very depends on the production because there's also some production. Well, I'm doing previous, but it's like more like a pitch. So because like they want to show a more like advanced version or like their vision in like into sequence, but they don't want to shoot it. They don't have the budget yet, but they want the company to bring like these things. So they will like give us like a really short description, like probably just 1 page of the script, and then we just finished that sequence, and then they took that sequence to show the high ups in the companies, and then
Hmm.
the high ups would say yes, and then they green light it, and then we'll keep going on. And then not sometimes we'll receive storyboard, like I worked on Fast and Furious, and then the storyboard artist like gave us amazing sequence, and then it was like great, and then we'll use that as like a reference, and then build our sequence based on that. And then sometimes they don't give us anything; they just give uh so this is what we want. They just describe, and then we have to kind of make things up ourselves. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I mean, is that challenging for like what do you prefer? Like I don't know. I feel like you're a very creative person. You'd have to be. But like do you prefer like they give you the storyboard and you're like, "Oh, I can do this," or do you like the flexibility in having to create it yourself?
I think I'm still at this stage that sometimes I'm intimidated to create like a sequence completely based on my own visions. Like I'm be like, oh, I don't know if this is what the director wants. So maybe like well, some directors they will give out like a sheet, tell you where to play the camera as well. So yeah, that
Oh.
would be like, I think, the easiest and then the fastest way. And then it's not as involved as storyboard. Like the storyboard gives you everything, like the framing
Mhm.
as well. But if the
Mhm.
director just tell you where the cameras are, I can still like play around with like the overall camera movement and then the framing. So I think and then it's like clear. So I know what I'm trying to do. And then so I think I will prefer like the director give me like a sheet of where he wants the camera to be, but not as like, but give you some like flexibility. Oh, if this doesn't work, just move it around.
I
So
see, I see.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to imagine this in my head, like watching a 3D storyboard. So like is it like cartoonish? Are they real people? Like
Uh, well, this also based on production because I worked for live action films, and then I also worked on the production. It was a cinematic trailer for a game, so that one will definitely. It's not specifically cartoony, but the characters are more like animated, like like video game like style. Um, so those would be like that in a very stylized environment. But for films, it's usually they some productions like they like our modelers can just take a picture of the, if we know the actor, take a picture of the actor's like image, like their face, and then put on the models, and then it's like sometimes it's like too real, it scares me. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I mean, I guess like you can do anything these days, I feel like on your
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
computer. So,
Yeah.
um I don't know if you can answer this question, Kino, or not, and I hope I'm being like specific in the way I ask it, but could you like take me through your process? I don't like I guess what I'm asking is this something you do on paper first and then it goes to digital, or what is the process for you when you start creating this animation?
Um, so let's say if it's like for production, they usually give us scripts and then some kind of guidance, or my supervisor and then lead artist will tell me, and then they will like, nowadays it's like everything happening Zoom and Google Meet. So they'll do like a little doodles, okay, camera here, camera there. And then yeah, and I probably take a screenshot of like whatever the camera they placed on, and then I just straight went going to the 3D software and then started to do it because yeah, it's like easier and faster. But if it's for myself and I have to, they don't really, they just tell me, oh, do whatever you want. Well, I don't think that happens very often. Yeah, I'm not giving that flexibility yet. But if that ever happens, I think I'll have to do like my own very like like very minimum storyboard like or thumbnails myself on the paper and then know what am I going to do, and then probably very similar things like do a top down um, little image, like top down image, and then place the camera so I know like how would they connect with each other. So yeah.
Um, what's a top down?
Oh, top down. It's sorry, I should have explained that a little bit better.
No,
So
that's okay.
um, it's like the profile, like right now, as I'm seeing you,
Uh-huh.
it's a frontal shot, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
then if you can see me, and I'm like turning my face away, this is like a profile shot.
Okay,
And
okay.
then imagining you seeing me in my room from the top, and then you're looking down. That's like a top
Oh,
down. So you see like the entire layout of
I
the room.
see. I
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. So you've mentioned a couple times in like this process, like the importance of the camera shots and like
yeah,
where the camera is. So, I mean, you have a pretty good feel, I guess, in your line of work of like the usage of camera angles for certain scenes, I would assume,
yeah,
right? I
yeah.
see. So like, okay, when you worked on Fast and Furious, right?
Yes.
Fast and Furious, is it the most recent one? I haven't seen it actually. I should
Yeah,
go.
it's the most recent one. It's okay. I have
um
not watched the many of them. I
oh
watched the
really?
most recent one because they have the stuff screening. But yeah, many of them I did not
Oh man,
watch.
I love Fast and Furious
Oh,
series,
you
but
do? Oh,
yes.
okay.
So I'm like, man, I have to go watch Fast 9 now. But like so I mean it's all action, right? Action
Yeah,
scenes,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like are those like really fun for you to do, like the more actiony kind of ones?
Well, that also depends on the production. Sometimes, like because we have a lot of times we have to work with there's this thing called stunt vis, so stunt visualization. So it's basically, sorry, I'm expanding this like the entire thing to a little bit like too far away, but
No, no, no. I
basically
like it.
yeah,
This is great. This is great. Okay,
yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, basically the second union, which they do all the stunts and stuff. Like they will send us of like the footages of like two actor fighting and stuff, and then sometimes like the production one everything just like very fast pacing. We will um maybe I will animate uh like a shot that two actors enter the scene, and then after that they will edit it into like put a stunt based sequence, and so implying, oh, they're fighting, this is what they probably going to do, like this is how they fight, and then cut back to the previous, so like with some VFX shots probably.
Oh,
So
okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
And then but I do sometimes get like if there's like a really easy stunt like or like actions, then I will do. But sometimes the director are being very specific, like the production I'm working on right now, I can't say the name yet, but they want certain style of like the fightings and then how the actions flows, and then they rather to see it like how the stunt guys do it, like so they can better have a better image in their head.
I see. I see. Wow, this is so fascinating, all of it. Um, okay, Kina, so could you take me back to like the beginning, like of your, I don't know, when you were in high school, like what were you like as far as personality, and did you know that this is something you always wanted to do?
So I came here for college. I was still back in China in during high school, and then well, back in China we have like the difference between different high schools. There will be like the normal high school, so you like you prepare your college entrance exams, like that's basically your goal, and then there will be other colleges that oh sorry high schools prepare you for like art schools, so they train you drawing and stuff. But I always know I want to like do either film, it was like mostly animation or maybe anime, like these kind of job, but I still went into like a normal high school because my parents think my grades are too good for our school for some reason. Yeah, I think it's just their like stereotype. Like usually, like if your grades are not great, then your other options is like art school. But I know I wanted to do these kind of things. So back then, my I was like really interested in anime and stuff. So my
Okay,
my
okay.
my goal was like most of the Asian kids. So my goal was still like, oh, I want to do maybe comics, maybe animation. Oh,
Mm.
maybe I want to do like character design and stuff. These are all like things that I wanted to do. I don't have a very specific goals because my goals changes all the time.
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
yeah, and then I went into college and I started to apply for like college in America. Um, and I got into a couple colleges, and then me knowing myself, some of the college in New York, in Chicago, and then in California, I just know I would not be able to study at all. Like I would just like wanted to go out all the time. So I picked Ringling College of Art and Design, which is in Sarasota, Florida, like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I
And
actually
yeah.
know that college.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I heard it's a very well-known art school, but it's
Yeah,
just in the middle
yeah.
of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was because they're specialized in 3D animation. They're like their strongest like department there. It's like computer animation.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
so but like you went in knowing that?
I did not do a very thorough research. I saw animation and I was just like, oh, so you can choose between 2D or 3D, I
Oh,
guess.
I
And
see,
then
I see.
I
Okay,
yeah,
okay. Gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, but the first year was a lot of like very fundamental skills like training. We still draw like some 2D animations and then like a very basic um anatomy drawing, and then starting from sophomore year we're like it's just all like 3D program. Yeah,
Okay. Well, I
yeah,
have
3D
to
animation.
ask, was it challenging moving from China to Sarasota, Florida? Like,
I mean the physical part is it's not that hard. It's just like you took two suitcases and then you're going there. Well, I was a little bit intimidated because like I was like a fresh out of high school, and then I like English is not my first language, and then I was like a little bit struggled at the beginning to just the language barrier. So I had to team up with like another Chinese students. So we flew there together, knowing that we even when we didn't really see each other before, but we just like kind of teamed up. Okay, you're going to Sarasota, I'm going to Sarasota, and I don't know what's gonna happen, but yeah, we should probably. It feels safer to like have another people be like your company.
no,
So
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, I feel like to think about it now, so I have two kids, and to think about sending if my son were grown, my first
Hmm.
son, and like he was what were you, 18?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like
18.
18, like to another country, right? Like, I mean, I can't imagine. Like,
Yeah,
so I'm sure it was like very intimidating to just not
yeah,
just go to college, but go to a new country and then just like English not being your first language. It's
yeah,
kind of insane
yeah,
and very
and in Florida,
brave. What'd you say?
and in Florida.
And in Florida,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, so brave. Okay, so like you get here though, but I mean, was it? I guess I'm just curious for those that may be listening, and they're starting their freshman year of college. Like, I'm curious to like the challenges you may have gone through adjusting a little bit to like cultural differences and things like that, or were you okay, or what was it
Yeah, I
like?
mean, people were in school were like very nice. They have orientation and stuff. Language barrier was definitely like a thing, but I think I started to getting used to like getting better like 2 or 3 months after the freshman year, and then that part was like a little bit struggle. Well, there were like awkward moments that I couldn't understand what the teacher means, but
I
but
see.
that was it. But like everybody's being very like understanding.
Oh,
I think
that's
the
great.
yeah, but the culture part, I would say it's not something that like only freshman year can solve. Like it takes many years. Like I'm still
Mm.
trying to learn a lot of things and understanding all these differences. I think it's like a work that you like something you have to constantly to understand and then like to think like for the rest of my life. Like
Yeah.
I don't think college is like, well, it certainly changed a lot of things. And then the change is like very, very, it's like too big. It's like one day in China and then the next day in America. So
Right, right. Oh
it's
my
a
gosh.
yeah, it's a huge gap.
Yeah.
And then I did not realize that till like later on. Oh,
Mm.
so those things are what I've been through. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you're taking all these classes. At this point, your sophomore year, like, have you declared your major?
Oh yeah. Computer animation.
Oh,
That's like yeah.
okay. So,
Oh, sorry. So for Ringling, it's like you can't really you can switch computer from like CA with as like computer animation from
uh-huh.
CA to other major, maybe illustration, maybe like other art major, but you cannot change from illustration to computer animation.
Oh,
So like it's like once you're in, you either out and then never come back, or you stay
I
in that
see.
major.
I
Yeah,
see.
it's like that.
Is it like competitive at all? Like in that world or
Um, Definitely competitive. Like all the students are like super talented. Like
mm.
and the but also everybody was like trying really hard to help each other because of like the workload. And I think it's funny because a lot of us were kind got rejected from like another school, which is Cal Art. So it's like during orientation and we realized, so I applied for a co-op, but I got rejected. Oh, me too. And then we kind of just have this thought, maybe we're not as good, but we will do better in this school. So like everybody was like founded. And then the major is like pretty small. Like it's starting with like 100 people maybe, but I think sophomore and junior year there was only like 50
Oh wow.
people. Yeah, like half of the students. So everybody knows everybody.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
So okay, so I know you work in what did you call it? Previs. You said
Yeah,
pre
previs.
Yeah, you work
Previs.
in Previs, but then like what are some other opportunities for computer animation?
Oh yeah. So I don't think well, Previs is definitely like a uh big one, but usually like the school's expecting you to become either a modeler or a 3D animator.
A
So
what?
like
What did you
a,
say?
a modeler is like creating models in
For what?
for well, you've seen like, okay, so Ringlin's like a very specific, they want their students to get into Pixar, Disney, DreamWorks, like these major animation studios.
Oh.
So yeah, they don't expect, well, they don't, it's like if you got into those you work on an animated feature, it's like the highlight of your the highlight
Sure.
of your,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I
career.
would.
Yeah. So mostly modeler would be the one who model those characters like in the 3D animation. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And
okay.
then
So
the
like,
animators, yeah.
oh, sorry, keep going. What were you gonna say?
Oh, the animators are the ones who animate those, of course, like the characters. And then there's also lighter, which is do the lightings in 3D animation. And then the layout artist, which is pretty similar as my job, but for animation. And then there's also texture, just like someone just doing texture, painted texture for the characters. Basically painting on the model like that. And
So
then there are
you're
also,
telling me that these are all different jobs as a computer
yeah.
animator?
Oh yeah. Yeah, these are all different jobs. There are more. I can keep going on. There's also, because these are mostly like 3D jobs, and then there will be people. A lot of my classmates wanted to do storyboard, which is like pure 2D, and then visual development, which is designing characters, designing the background.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then some of them went to be like more like a producer, or production, from like a production assistant to be a producer.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay, so what I'm like really amazed by right now is like I guess in my very limited knowledge of like what animation is, I just thought like if you're an animator, you do all of those things like that you just said. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
like like one person does the lighting and the other person does the painting and the other person
Yeah.
like I didn't and then like you just said so there's a modeler, so somebody that models the character
Mhm.
and then someone else animates that?
Uh, there's one more process between them. It's like someone modeled a character
Uh-huh.
and then a rigger, which is basically putting joints into the characters and then connect them together. So make the character and movable. And then the animator took from the rigger and then started to do the animation.
That is so crazy to me. I don't know, cuz like again, my kids right now all they watch is animation,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And so like, I'm really fascinated by a lot of the movies that I watch, especially like recent ones. And I guess, I had no idea. I had no idea. It's like basically that's why there's so many credits at the end of a movie
Oh,
because there's
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
many people.
Yeah. Like
Oh.
for the animator, I think it takes them sometimes a week to do 1 second of animation. Yeah.
What? Oh my
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that because like I didn't realize that was like it took them that long. Well, like yeah, some of the animation can be very challenging and then well, honestly, a week of 1 second is probably too little. Maybe a week and then you do 5 second of the
I mean,
animation.
that's still really little. That's
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
That's nothing.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
interesting. So, okay, like what is your time frame when you like get a project or something? Like do you have to have a quick turnaround time to get your animation done for whoever needs to see it?
Um, well, for Previs, yes, because it's relatively like really rough. Like the look is very rough. Like nothing's final.
I see, I
So
see.
they just want to get a sense of like how to place the camera and
I
stuff. So
see.
I
Okay,
would
gotcha,
say,
gotcha.
for what I do, like I can do 10 cameras in a day. Very rough, but yeah, I can do like that's probably like equivalent like 1 or 2 minutes. I would say, yeah, but very rough.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I kind of went ahead, but so you graduate from school
Yeah.
and then like you decide that this is what you're going to do or was there different paths to get where you are?
Um, but back in school, I really wanted to be like an animator because that seems like the option that I'm like relatively good compared to my other skills.
Okay, yeah,
Not
yeah.
not as good as my other classmates, but it's like okay, and then I don't find it like boring stuff. But I only find out doing layout, doing camera work,
Uh-huh.
and then all these previous like does that this kind of job exists in senior year because we started to do our thesis film. And then that's
Oh.
yeah, because before we only do like a clip of animation like there's not much camera work and then they don't really focus on the cameras. But and then I realized, oh, this is actually a job, and I really, really like to see like put all the sequence together and then seeing them cutting to like the sequence. And then I realized, oh, this is amazing. This is what I wanted to do.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, yeah. So after and then not I think not many people back in my year like wanted to do that kind of job.
Hmm.
So in my head I was like, it's so maybe less competition. So well, I still love this job, but in my head it was like, it's not a bad thing to have a little bit less competition. But I
Yeah.
mean, I have like amazing coworkers. They're all very good. So I realized it's still very competitive.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but after school, I basically just starting to apply mainly previous work. If there's like a 3D job, 3D animator job, I would apply as well. But yeah.
So you how did you have you always worked for this company that you're currently with or were there other companies that you worked for before?
Oh, I started to work with this company actually just 2 months ago. This
Oh,
is like yeah, yeah, it's a pretty I came here, I'm like new people. But I was working with my previous company for the other company for 2.5 years.
okay.
So yeah, for a pretty long time. It's like Proof Inc. That's where I did Fast and Furious.
I see.
So yeah.
Okay, so because I was gonna say, like, how does one, work for these large movies. There was another one that was listed on
The
IMDb.
Tomorrow Wall.
Yeah. That's a big one too. Like, so basically, they're not really specifically hiring you, they're hiring your company. Is that how it works?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
they heard the
Okay.
company.
Okay. Is that how most productions work? Like, they hire companies?
Yes, and then I do see sometimes like the supervisor like work for a company, and then he got well, I've seen amazing supervisors. They're just like really great, and then they've been in the industry for a very, very long time, and then they're probably going to start to like take their own jobs, and then they kind of knew the producers and then the high ups in the company, so they will probably just like recruit a team for themselves and then more like work as the individual team instead of like through like a company.
I see.
So yeah,
Okay.
that sometimes happens as well.
Gotcha. Um, so, mm, what do you like most about your job, Kino?
It's definitely the camera work because I really enjoy doing cameras because I know like it's kind of too late for me to be a cinematographer. Well, of course
It's
I should never
not. It's
say
not too
yeah.
late.
Yeah, of course I should say and it's never too late to become a cinematographer, but like it's a lot more effort like
Mm,
to be like because you well cameras is expensive and then it's a very time consuming and then you have to and I'm lazy so so like finding this alternative like it makes me really happy like you're just like basically staring at a screen and then you do the amazing camera work so I think I personally really love that because I enjoy watch movies and then I just find like those little details that I find like I can tell that the cinematographer put these little things when they're framing the camera, like what kind of emotions they want to evoke from these things. I just like it gives me chills. So I just
yes, yes.
yeah. So I just like to do these kind of like camera work. So for sure, I
Wow.
can.
No, it's not too late. And I
Oh
love
yeah.
that. I feel like so okay, I I'm embarrassed to even say this, okay? But I studied in college, I studied like what do you call mass media arts and like and it's like film work and camera work and production and stuff. But like never used my major at all, really. I worked in live sports television for a little bit, but it's completely different. It's a different world. And so that's why everything you're saying is like really fascinating to me. But what you said really resonates with me. Like when I watch movies too, I'm like, oh man, that was so purposeful. Like just
Yeah,
even
yeah,
the way
yeah,
the camera moves
yeah, yeah,
and like to make you feel a certain way.
yeah,
But it's kind of crazy that like you get to witness that before it even goes into production.
yeah. Yeah, sometimes like I'm just thinking because I was working on another film earlier this year, and then that one is a little bit different because the supervisor like started to ask a very specific like acting choices, and
Oh.
then yeah, and then usually what we because it's previs, so we do really rough animation, but that one's like you started to do like very detailed animation, and in my head I was just like I don't know if this actor is ever gonna agree with my acting choice. Like, yeah, as I'm animating, I was like, I don't know if like he's gonna like my acting choice. But
Oh, interesting. So you can even do that on the computer.
yeah, I think when I'm doing certain like making certain acting choices, usually to work with the camera to
Okay.
make the frame look better.
I see.
Not
I
yeah,
see.
not like a real acting choice. It was more like for camera work.
So like when okay, this might sound like a really stupid question, and I'm
There's
sorry,
no stupid question.
but like so when you're animating for the pre-production stuff, um like do you even animate like extras walking through the camera and stuff like that too?
Yes, because the actors, there can be a framing hop as well. Because if like there's an extra walking through the foreground, there's something moving in the foreground. That's like that's sometimes like creates certain feelings for us. And then if there's like a lot of actors in the background, and then they're all like, well, sometimes they're not even rigged. They're just like a piece of piece of like a figure, and then
Mm.
you can't really animate them like doing anything. They're just like moving and
Right,
running in the
right, right,
background.
right.
You have to create certain feelings for the shot. But yes, for sure.
Oh wow. I mean, you're basically a director in my mind. I'm like, oh
I
wow,
hope.
it's like crazy.
Yeah, yes. Well, a lot of these choices right now are still making by, well, the director goes down to the supervisor, goes down to the lead artist, and then we started to, well, it's like I'm animating these, but a lot of time it's not really my decisions.
Oh
But
no, yeah.
there are like a small things that can make decisions. So
Right. No, I understand that. But I
yeah, yeah,
think it's
yeah.
still cool that like you can see it visually and then
Yeah,
you have to show them what it is that they thought they wanted to see.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
I'm sure like they see it there are times like this is not it, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, a lot of times. Because
Oh.
it's like the cheap way for them to see what they want.
Right,
It's
right.
that,
Man,
yeah.
that's so cool. I feel like that's I mean, just as somebody that can appreciate movies too, it's like
Yeah.
man, that's really neat. Um, I'm curious, like when you started working like in this field, was there something that you learned that like about this field or about this work that really helped you be better in your own work? Does that make sense? I don't know. Like is there something that you didn't learn in school that you learned on the job that you felt like made you a better artist?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's like many things that I did not learn from school. One
Yeah.
thing is like it's very specific to us.
Mm.
Well, for previous artists, some productions, it's not only one artist working on one thing. So like the files will pass down like through all like maybe three or four different artists, and then you can kind of see the way other artists work like through their
Mm.
files. So it's very interesting. Sometimes it's like just pure chaos. Like they don't really care. But you will see like the artists like working certain ways make your life so much easier. It's
I
like how
see.
yeah, the way that they're let's say like a very specific way to move the camera. Like the camera needs to move like um basically a circle and then the characters in the middle, and
Mhm, mhm.
then let's say I don't really know that, but learning through other people's file I have like a better idea also what would be the best approach to do these type of things. And then it's also definitely sometimes like working on the same thing for a very long time you started to losing the appreciation that like for the films you're just like staring oh I'm just doing the job, but like when you're seeing other people's work, it's like amazing, and then you'll get back to yourself, be like, oh, I need to work harder. I need to like, there's so many amazing artists out there. Like I need to like keep working and keep learning. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's
yeah,
I feel like that's beneficial, right? Like when you have
yeah,
real life experience and then able to like effectively do your work better because of it is very
yeah,
rewarding.
yeah, for
um,
sure.
do you so like have you watched the movies that you've worked on?
Yeah, I watched the Fast and Furious. That's
Uh-huh.
like a crew screening, and then the Tomorrow Wall as well. Well, for that one, I was actually work on hospice. I introduced myself as a previous artist because like this is the job that I wanted to do. I wanted to do the camera, but post production can be something that I work on a lot as well.
Oh, so
Um,
what does that entail post
um,
viz?
so it's basically it's a little bit more complicated than the previous, but basically it's a Previs but for VFX. Because so after they shoot all the footage, and then the producer and the director will have to start to budgeting. Also, these are the clips that we want, and then we'll
Mm-hmm,
probably
hmm.
have to do like a VFX on them. But the VFX, the real VFX, is like too expensive, so they want to use the cheap way first to see, oh, like let's say we put like for the Tomorrow Wall, it was like a lot of alien creatures, like
Uh-huh.
those can be very expensive, so
Uh-huh.
we put like a relatively cheap model in there and then do a very quick version, so they can for all the shots they want, and then they can pick um the sh- the the sequence that they think is going to work, and then these shots eventually go to the VFX department and then they will do the final VFX. So it's like that. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's more like a budgeting tool.
I see. I see. So
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you would do the visual effects for that or just the pre-visual
Yeah,
effects?
yeah, yeah, previous. So I will still do, yeah, it's still 3D animation. It's sometimes it's more like you know, the green screen.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah, we swap out like the background in like
I see.
the
Okay, okay.
background, yeah, yeah, and then add some cheap version of animation and then let them decide what they want.
I see. Okay. So like um what do you mean like it's more expensive? Like is the alien more scary looking? Like I
Oh,
like
it's oh, I completely understand. Like it's like it took me a while to understand as well.
uh-huh.
Like, cause what we do, it's like it's usually the render. It's very expensive. And then the VFX production, the textures, and then the effects they use, like explosion and stuff, their materials. It's usually way more expensive. Because what we use is usually like already existed prop. Like we took like from other productions,
I see. I
so it's
see.
cheap one. They're the ones like, and then they're gonna add more details to the final footage and then make it look amazing. And then the renders take very very long. So yeah,
I
it can be very
see. I
expensive.
see. So the rendering is I mean, I guess I would say for lack of better term like higher quality, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And so it probably looks more realistic.
Yeah, yeah. So like for the post vis, like let's say, well, I will spend more time compared to previous
Uh-huh.
because they're at this point the director already know what they want. Most like 90% what they want. So the animation would take longer, but like those final working for the effects, they would take much longer time compared to me because it's all like realistic animation.
I
It's like
see. I
yeah,
see.
yeah.
Oh, so like if I watch a movie and I'm like, that looks not real, it's probably because they use a cheaper version. Maybe.
Uh,
Maybe.
well, sometimes I think there's like yeah I think yeah you're right. I think that happens sometimes. I remember there's like a one shot in Fast and Furious, and I can tell it's directly from the post vis instead of going through VFX. Yeah, but it was
Oh.
not bad. It's
Right,
just the
right, right.
director
I'm
think
sure
it
only
was
you
enough.
can notice it,
Yeah,
right? Probably
yeah.
you're the only one that can notice those
Sometimes
kind
it's very noticeable.
of.
Yeah.
I see. So what you're saying is it just they would you whatever the movie they'll if they maybe use it from just the post visual and they didn't send it to the visual effects people.
Yeah,
I
it's probably
see.
just really small things they think, oh, this looks good enough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like when you watch the movie, are you like, "Oh, cool. Like that's how it looks now," or something? Like do you feel any kind of way?
Um, I think for hmm, I think it's still exciting because like what I was working on was still footages like clip by clip, but the edits is like a very important thing as well, and then the music as well.
The
So when
music, the
yeah
music.
yeah,
Yes.
and then you see the editing and then the music and then like there are probably more dialogues and then the final VFX and then you realize wow this looks great. Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so what do you like least about your job?
Like least about my job, I think it's because that we're more a behind the scene job. Like most of people probably like this job makes sense, but like most people probably never heard of like this previous. So it's very personal. It's like the reason is very personal to me because I am Chinese, so I'm on my working visa, and then for me to apply for a working visa and then maybe even green card, it means that I have to prove that I did all these work. But previous or post this, they will never be in the final film because they're all pre-production or and then
Right.
the final footage is usually like the VFX shot. So and there's so many artists and then so many like working on the same thing. So it's really hard to tell like did I work on this one? Sometimes I forget myself. Did I work on this one? Did I did like a
Mm.
90% of the job? So it's really hard for me to put a reel together or
Mm.
like even get reels from my companies. I still have not get any footages that I worked on from any
Mm.
of those companies that I worked for. I understand it's very hard for them as well because you have to go through all these like companies and then ask for your reels and stuff, and then the movie takes years to make, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
and then you're only allowed to show certain things after the DVD is released. So for me, it's like I did a lot of work. I spent a lot of time, but it's hard to be seen. Therefore, like it's hard for me to prove that I work on these things to the immigrant like for my immigrant
No, yeah, that's
process.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
That's crazy that it's that difficult, even though
yeah,
you've put all this work in.
yeah.
Um, Man, I hope that works out. Is it getting better for you? Like, are you closer?
Um, Not really.
Not really. Oh
Not
God.
really. I'm hoping like the current production can I think they have a little bit better policies about giving the artists their reels because they understand it's very important. Even for like someone doesn't need a working visa, they still need it to, look for other jobs as well. It's like
Yes,
the
yes.
personal work. Yeah, yeah, it's very important. So I think that the policy is a little bit better, but I'm still in the very beginning of the production. So this, I think it's gonna take at least 2 years for it to finally release, and it's gonna take another couple months for for me to get my the reel. So yeah,
Right,
it just takes
right.
very long.
That's crazy. Well, Kino, I'm so thankful for you and your time this evening. I was wondering if there anything that maybe you wanted to tell me about today about your job that I didn't ask you about, or if you have any advice for somebody that is thinking, man, Previs sounds really cool. This is something maybe I want to do. Like, do you have any advice for them?
Um, I think sorry, I have to think about it.
Yeah, no, you're
um,
good.
um, I would say if you're really interested in previous, it basically means that you're like probably likes films and then likes cinematography because this is like definitely the job for someone who enjoy these things. But you just have to really take care of yourself. I would say um, like you have to negotiate the price. Like yeah, that would be my advice because I feel like a lot like I didn't work for like I think I asked for too low at the very beginning because also like I was worried that I would lose my job.
Mm,
And then if I don't work for very long, I can't keep working here.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah. And then if you're interested in this, then I would say definitely keep up with the industry because the industry is like updating like every single day, and then you have to learn so many different programs, and then well the company will probably train you, but you just have to be like your eyes need to be open for like all these different opportunities, and then
Mm.
all these like new updates, and then learn from the other people. Yeah, that would be my advice.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Kino. I um am gonna go watch Fast Nine now. And but actually, I probably won't watch movies the same either because I didn't know about Previous work, and I feel like, I just watched 007 too. Okay, so I say this because it's been forever since I went to the movie theater because of my kids. And so my
um,
husband and I recently went to go watch 007, and it was like, have you seen it?
no, I have not.
Oh my
Did you like
gosh.
it?
It was the first like 5-10 minutes was phenomenal. Like I was blown away just by all of the action, the camera movement, and everything. I looked at my husband and I was like, holy crap. That was really good. But then now I'm thinking like, wow, like how much Previs did they do before doing this movie, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And I'm always going to think that now because of you. I'm going to think, man, a lot of 3D animation probably went into storyboarding this scene.
I think hmm. Sometimes like Previs is a great tool,
Uh-huh.
but sometimes it can just be pure storyboard. Like they don't
Really?
want, yeah, a lot of times it can just be pure storyboard. And then sometimes like smaller productions like indie films, they don't use Previs. I think Previs is specifically designed for like those blockbusters.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, 007 definitely there's no way. There's no
Yeah, yeah,
way
yeah.
with all
Yeah,
with
yeah,
all of those
yeah,
different
okay.
scenes,
Now I
there's
want to
no
watch it.
way.
Yeah. Now I probably need to watch that movie.
All right. Well, thank you again, Kino. Kino, I always ask people at the end too, like, if there's somebody that maybe had maybe some questions about your job, would you be open to me connecting them with you, maybe through email or something?
Yeah, sure. Uh,
Awesome.
should I give out the email right now or?
Oh no, it's okay. I'll give it to
Oh,
them.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Guys,
great.
if you want to connect with Kino or if you have any questions about her job or you just wanted to tell me how much you enjoyed this episode, you can email me at podcastwigu@gmail.com or you can DM me through social media. Thanks again, guys. Thanks, Kino. Until next time. Bye.
Bye. Bye.